We're now on YouTube. Hello, everyone. Yeah. All right, wow. I'm going to go pop out the chat room, even though I know that we're probably not going to be in the chat room too much during our recording, but we're going to go in at the very end. But let me I just got to do this. Okay. All right. Should we start our recorders and do it?
Let's do it.
Okay. All right. So I will count to 3 and we will clap on 4. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Get ready. Here's the music.
Childish, oh shit. Last time I checked, I was still a kid. Childish, childish. This all freaks me out a bit. Childish, oh shit. How can I parent when I'm still a kid? Childish, oh shit. Who the hell decided I was ready for this? Childish, oh shit. This is like a job that I cannot quit. Childish, oh shit. Maybe I should have gotten fixed.
Hey now, Greg Fitzsimmons here.
Alison Rosen here.
Together, we make up a powerful team that's been highlighted on a website this week of what to listen to on Election Day. A lot of pressure, Alison.
That's right. Fast Company included us in their roundup of like spend Election Day. I don't know if it was with these podcasters or what to watch on Election Day. So if anyone is here from Fast Company, kudos, because we did change the time in between when that ran and right now. But I feel like, you know, you can catch it later, catch it whenever. Anyway,
catch it whenever.
Catch it whenever. It's, you know, yes, we're recording this on Election Tuesday. And yes, we're going to talk about the election, but it's evergreen.
It's evergreen. And what's exciting about it is one of my children has voted for the first time in their lives.
That is very exciting. I'm going to guess it's Owen.
It was Owen. And I'm not going to tell you who he voted for, but we had a huge fight about it.
I don't believe you.
I don't believe that.
Yeah.
We're solid Californians. We backed Biden, and you know, it's a lot of tension right now because he's ahead in all the polls, but who knows? By the time people listen to this, it may be decided. It may not. It may take days. It may take weeks. And so there's this, it's almost like going on a date with somebody and you're not really sure if this is like, you're going to get laid tonight or if the date is going to end horribly badly. You know,
laid or murdered,
raped, murdered,
stranded, or you might end up with a good friend.
You could end up with a good friend. What's the parallel to that in the election?
Let's see.
Maybe MAGA people who realize that Biden is not a socialist Trojan horse, that he's actually just a decent middle of the road guy, and now they've got a friend.
There is no parallel. I was just thinking of ways that dates can go.
Right. You forgot about the metaphor halfway through.
Yes, I abandoned the metaphor. We could get
never abandon the metaphor. I mean,
it was a mistake.
It's in the Mark Maron Podcasting Guide 101. Never abandon the metaphor.
And the thing is, I even taught that class when I was looking for a little extra money to make ends meet.
I remember that.
Yeah, and yet here it just goes to show, don't get overly confident. And you know, I don't appreciate my name being bandied about when they talk about, sort of like Dr. Drew gets shit for like how many of the celeb rehab people have died. I don't appreciate.
Oh, have they died? Has he had patients that have died?
Yes. Well, I don't know if they were technically his patients, but there have been many cast members from Celebrity Rehab who have overdosed over the years.
Well, I mean, you have to compare that to how many would have died anyway. I know that he took Andy Dick under his wing. Andy Dick is a dear friend who I love and is a troubled guy and always gets himself fucked up. But, you know, Dr. Drew has been by his side for a lot of years, been very positive influence. I think he helped Artie Lang
Yeah.
So-
How's Artie doing?
He's doing great.
Good.
You know, he's got his podcast. Obviously, he's not doing stuff. I'm a little worried he's got too much time on his hands right now because that's where he gets into trouble. But maybe I'll call him and check in.
Yeah, do that.
Should I do it right now on the podcast?
Yes. Would he like that? I don't. Do we care?
The problem is he changes his phone number too often. I can't. What?
Well, let's see what happens, because I think that people are on edge today and they need this kind of distraction.
All right. My phone died. I have no
Oh.
phone. Yeah.
So I guess we're not going to be doing that.
We're not going to do it.
Okay, we're not going to do that. Question for you, Greg. You often put people who call you while you're recording, you just put them right on air.
Put them right on the air. That's my rule. That's bad. That's WTF chapter 4, section 3.
Again, I should know this.
You taught the
I
class.
taught this. Oh yeah, what I was saying, I want to get back to that though, to chapter 4. But what I was saying is, I don't, in the same way that Dr. Drew gets shit for like how many people, you know, have perished, I don't appreciate my name being brought up every time someone gets canceled for harassment. Yes, I taught them. Yes, I taught them how to, I taught them. Maybe I said yes means no, but I think no means yes, but I think everyone knows I was joking. So
you
it's
would
not my
think that
fault.
they would get the irony, the Alison Rosen irony, you know, and maybe you left out the chapter about, did you do the bit at the end? A lot of times you have to add a week to do the don't rape anybody. Did that come up?
It was extra credit.
Oh,
So not
right.
everyone did it.
Right.
They're adults.
That's all
you know.
alleged. It's all alleged.
Yes, exactly. So anyway, chapter 4, what was it again? I've already forgotten again.
Chapter 4.
Of the class that we teach.
Well, I
I
mean,
taught.
you start at the beginning and you say, whenever you start the podcast, always make sure that you have spoken before the podcast briefly. And when we did, we talked about hitting kids. But is that going to come up later? Are we going to wait for that?
Yes. Okay. I just remembered what it was. For anyone watching for the first time, listening for the first time, welcome. It's maybe not our best show. Our minds are on the election. It's gonna end up having been our best show though. I know what we were saying. I want to know, have you ever gotten in trouble for putting someone on air right away?
Oh. Well, I do it to Aaron all the time. My agent now will never call me at night. He used to call me at night because I'm the kind of client, I'm not the client you get to work, have a cup of coffee, check your emails, and then call.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the guy that it's the end of the day, you're going through your call sheet from your assistant, you see the names, and you start what they call rolling calls. Very often my calls from my agent happen when he's on the 405 North in traffic.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm a call roller
a
too.
laptop in front of him with notes from the network. Yeah, I'm that guy. I mean, sometimes I'm the guy who, you know, if you get hot, that's the thing about this business. It goes in waves. You get hot, you get cold. And when I'm hot, I'm a 10 a.m. call. Last couple of years, around 6:20
Yeah.
p.m.
Where you get the assistant saying like, I have so-and-so for you.
Yeah.
You know, career stuff. I was up for something possibly, and I think I didn't get it. And the whole thing like really stayed small. I mean, I was excited and I was flattered to be considered for something that it had come to me and then it didn't stay with me. And the whole thing, I was just like very calm about it, which I feel like is growth on my part.
Yeah.
Because there was a period of time where if I auditioned for, and this is not an audition thing, but like if I auditioned for something and I didn't get it, I felt like angry almost. I mean, this was like, 10 years ago, but I felt like I began to get bitter over all the rejection.
Yeah.
And I remember other people who were sort of in the same position being like, it's just a numbers game, like you should feel when you go into audition as if you're probably not going to get it, because you're probably not going to get it. And just eventually it might go your way, and I had a hard time getting to that place mentally, but,
I've heard that like everybody that gets successful says it started happening for me when I stopped caring.
Yeah.
When I would go into auditions and just feel like you said, I'm not going to get it, or not necessarily I'm not going to get it, but it's not going to define me. It's not going to make or break me. I'm going to do my best. And then like my father, who auditioned a lot in his life because he did voiceovers, said he knew like when he'd come home and if my mom asked him what you auditioned for today and he couldn't remember, that was a really good sign.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. And there are people who do so many auditions like a week that they probably couldn't remember. For me,
I remember your audition for Childish, and you seemed super confident, almost like you knew you were going to get it.
Yeah. And was that good or bad?
Well, the other guys thought that it was a little off-putting, but I was attracted to it.
Yeah, I figured you would respect strength. I know that
it.
I was a little bit rude, probably, with the way I was just like, I kept saying fuck you to people.
Right.
Which is weird for a parenting podcast.
Uh-huh.
But the fact that it was referred to as the untitled Alison Rosen Greg Fitzsimmons project made me feel like I had not a sure thing, but it was a good shot.
I felt like that too when I came in. And I remember I remember when Rogen was sitting behind the conference table with Mark Maron. I remember thinking like, I've been on these guys' shows. I hope that helps me get this.
Same. I felt that way too. Like, am I the best Alison Rosen to be Alison Rosen? I don't know. But I'm just going to do my version of That's the thing I did differently. I was like, I'm going to show them who Alison Rosen is to me. I'm not going to try to figure out who they think Alison Rosen is.
Nice. Yeah.
And then I did a little prayer right before I said, let me be of service to this role. And I went in, I showed them what I had.
Yeah.
I looked at it as a chance to give them a free sample of my work.
Yeah.
And then I said, fuck you. And I left.
You spiked the mic.
And then I put it out of my head. That's right.
Spiked the mic.
That's right. And I put it out of my head. And then I got the call. Well, my agent called me and was like, hey, they want to do a chemistry test between you and Greg.
Uh-huh.
And then remember we did that. That was like
which was obviously a euphemism for taking acid together. The chemistry test.
Yeah. There were beakers everywhere, lab coats. Yeah.
And I remember before I went in, I talked to my childhood self. I went back and I told my childhood self, everything's going to work out when you're older and you're going to have a big opportunity. And behind a conference table is going to be Karen Kilgariff, and it's going to be Joe Rogan, Joey Diaz, and you're going to look them straight in the eye and say, I was meant for this. And that's exactly what happened.
That's right. And behind my table, it was Chris Hardwick.
Mm-hmm.
It was Adam Carolla, actually.
Wow.
It was, who else? Dan Carlin has a history
Hardcore
podcast.
History?
Yes. Yeah. And
what's your favorite podcast? Which one do you listen to right now?
Okay, so I don't listen to podcasts very often. I just don't. I find that I don't have the time. But when I want to just throw one on and feel better, I listen to a podcast that was called Throwing Shade and it's now called Attitudes. And the hosts are just so funny, and the way they banter with each other is great. I like that one a lot.
Are they African?
No. In fact, they were called Throwing Shade, and they recently renamed themselves because people were saying that was them appropriating another culture.
Right.
So they changed themselves. What about you? What do you listen? I know you listen more than I do, probably.
Not that much. Every day I get up, I have a cup of coffee, and then I walk the dogs and I listen to the Daily. So that's about.
Oh, yeah.
So I take about a 30-minute walk. That's about how long the Daily is, 25, 30 minutes. And then I listen to audiobooks. But then if I do listen to a podcast, it's generally either Duncan Trussell's Family Hour.
I love him.
Or I listen to Rogan, depending on the guest. I like a guest that's a scientist. I like him to get in deep into some like nuclear physics or you know, astronomy or something that, you know, you just know nothing about, because Rogan is a really good sort of the questions he asks are very accessible. You never get lost, and as smart as the people are, you never get lost, because if he gets lost, he doesn't have an ego where he won't stop and go, wait, I'm not following, can you explain that?
That
Which
is
I think
great.
is like one of the strongest points of his show.
How's he doing? Have you talked to him since he moved over to Spotify?
He's doing great. Yeah. I talk to him all the time. He said he loves Austin. He really gets riled up when he's talking about California. He fucking hates Gavin Newsom. He hates Eric Garcetti. He hates the cancel culture that is LA. So I think he hated paying taxes on $100 million. I think he saved. I mean, look, if he saved 10%, that's $10 million he saved by moving to Texas.
Right.
And I think it was more than 10%. It was probably 20, 25%. That's $20 million by moving to Texas.
Right.
Yeah.
I can see the appeal of that. Well, here's the thing. I can see the appeal of that when also quite possibly your quality of life is going to be better in Texas. Like, that's the thing, is that, and I like, well, honestly, I miss New York. If I could live anywhere, I probably would go back to Brooklyn.
Same with me.
But do you also have a spouse who has no interest in living in New York?
Well, my wife grew up there, so she's done. She literally did not live off the island of Manhattan, because she went to college there also, until we moved to LA when we were 33. She lived for 33 years on the island of Manhattan. So she's done.
Yeah. See, and I lived my whole life in California, except for my time in New York. So to me, that's like kind of, you know, choosing my own path, making my way in the world is not being in California. That being said, I'm fine here, but we've talked about this a lot of times. Like, it's very expensive to live here. There are things about it that are annoying, and there's not really a reason to be here right now.
Right.
Although, depending on how things go politically, at least it's like a good, safe place.
If Trump gets elected, there's a reasonable chance that next summer we're going to move to Portugal and rent out our house.
That's good. Let people know now if they want to live in the Fitzdog's Casa de Fitzdog. Do it.
Well, what am I doing? I'm sitting in this goddamn office, 3 days a week doing my 3 podcasts. I'm doing them all over the internet.
Yeah.
And there's no stand-up to do here. What am I doing? This is insane.
And I think I mentioned to you, I have a friend who was in New Jersey and now lives in Portugal.
Oh, you didn't tell me that.
Oh, I do. Yeah. I know. I keep meaning to ask her, like, how was the process of going there?
You have to buy like $20,000 worth of Portuguese stocks. Like, there's an index fund in Portugal, and you have to buy into it, and then you can live there. Or you can buy a house and you can live there as a citizen. I don't know, citizen, but
that sounds really easy.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a very privileged statement that I just made. That sounds really easy. $20,000 or a house.
I thought you were shitting on me when you said it. Like, oh yeah, Greg, that's easy. Just grab 20 grand.
No, I actually meant easy because we've been looking at Canada and I can't figure out how to become.
Canada doesn't want you.
Right. And so
it's too fucking cold. Portugal is the most beautiful climate year round. You can go in the ocean year round in Portugal.
Right.
And you want to travel around Europe how about that? How about I stay there for 4 years and every weekend the flights in Europe are like $40 to go to like Rome from Portugal. Super cheap. And you just bounce around. Meanwhile, rent out my house in Venice Beach for a fortune because people are idiots and they all want to live in Venice. So we could live like kings in Portugal and sit out the 4 years where I think if Trump wins, I think this country's I think democracy is in peril if he wins.
I agree. nod to our listeners who might not share our views. I get that you're out there. I disagree with you. I feel it is imperative that he gets voted out, and I hope that that happens today. But yeah, we'll go to Portugal too, and then we can do Childish in person from Portugal, and then we can be like, this is amazing. Why did we wait so long?
And, and it's going to be hard for people to adjust to us doing it in Portuguese. But if they're committed to the show, they're gonna get, Alibaba or whatever that app is, and they're just gonna learn it.
Duolingo?
I think there's one called why am I thinking there's one called
Alibaba is like the Chinese Amazon. It's like a
Chinese
marketplace. What? Like Amazon, but in China. That's called Alibaba, where you can buy stuff.
I'm thinking that we'd get a paywall with Alibaba once we're in Portugal.
Yes.
That's what I was thinking.
And here's the thing: we're gonna truly do it in Portuguese. We're not gonna just do it in English with a Portuguese accent.
Right. Well, I think while we're learning
Or
Portuguese, maybe we do the accent for like a year, and then we start throwing words in, and we do like a Portuglish, like the Spanglish.
Yeah,
This would be Portuglish. And we'll work Portuglish for about a year, and then you got to be up to speed with us.
Yeah, exactly. Give you a year, and then it's like, we speak Portuguese here. Go home. Go home.
Yeah.
Se habla. You know what? We don't speak it yet, so I can't do this joke.
All right, listen, Alison. This
yes.
show is called Childish. We're 20 minutes in, and we've not talked about children. But it's election day. This is an outlier.
That's right. Should we do some news that involves children? All right.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Let's do it.
Time for the news.
All right. I have some news, and it's not good news, but it does involve children. This last week, the last week of October, was the highest number of new child COVID-19 cases that have been reported. And this comes from the American Academy of Pediatrics. So 61,447 new child cases were reported in the last week of October. And that brings the count to 853,635 total child COVID-19 cases that have been reported altogether. And
in this country alone, almost 1 million?
I'm assuming, because it's the American Academy of Pediatrics.
Damn,
so children represent,
crazy.
children represent 11% of all cases. So the overall rate is 1,134 cases per 100,000 children in the population. But the AAP is saying that they suspect that that's an undercount, because in children, the symptoms are so mild and there's less testing. So that close to 1 million number may be lower than it really is.
So 1%, if it's 1,000 out of 100,000, is that what you said?
Yeah. It's 1% of all. Is that? I got to do take the two, move the decimal over 2. That's right, Greg. Right. Wait a minute. I can't do the math.
Owen had a little scare at school. He lives with 5 other guys, and they're very, very good about quarantining. They literally just hang out with each other. Mm-hmm. They party a little bit. They make dinner together. They watch movies. They work out. They do yoga, but they don't have people over. They don't go to parties or bars. Owen runs. And so they had one roommate who went out to a party, and they all got really pissed at him for it.
Yeah.
Then he tested positive for COVID-19.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And so they bounced him out. They go, get the fuck out. Threw him out of the house.
In the midst of him having COVID?
That's right. Hit the pavement.
Where did he go? I'm sorry to feel sorry for him, but where did he go?
He lives in the suburbs of Chicago. So
so he could go to his parents.
Got him. Yeah.
Did any of them test positive?
No, they all got tested a couple times, and they're fine.
So he went to a party, and that's where he got it.
But my son is like, all the kids in college are in bars and going to parties, and he sees it on Instagram, and they're packed into apartments
Yeah.
and they're getting it like crazy. And it's like, you know, I don't get it. It's like, this thing ain't going away unless people do social distancing and masks.
Right.
I get that businesses are closing because of it. And I think we need to work on getting businesses open. And I think they're starting to do that better. But in terms of socially, you got to just bite the bullet for a little while and say, I'm not going to crowded parties and I'm going to wear a mask. Just wear a fucking mask.
So this kid wasn't wearing a mask?
No.
Did he have symptoms? Like, was he symptomatic and that's why he got tested? Do you know?
Yeah, he had symptoms.
Is he okay?
Yes. No, he got tested because he had symptoms.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really scary. Yeah, I see people being social. And in fact, I'm going to not call out by name a certain person that we all know, but I'm just going to, this is about a certain person that we all know who is doing all this social stuff on Instagram and having parties and things, and people we know are part of these gatherings, and it's getting press and everyone's like envious and, oh, look at the life they're leading. And they post about their rapid COVID test that they do. So it's all supposed to be COVID free. However, I still feel like it's really in poor taste to be having big social events.
It's a friend of ours. Is it P. Diddy?
It's another friend of ours. It's not
Who
Kim
is it?
K either.
Who
No,
is it?
I don't want to say. It's not a friend. It's not a friend of ours. It's someone in our.
Have they been on our podcasts?
Not mine, possibly yours.
But
I don't
who
want to
is it?
say. It's someone powerful, so I don't want to say.
Wow.
I'll tell you after.
Really?
I think so. I think this person is powerful. I'll tell you after.
I can't believe you won't say it on the podcast.
I don't want to make an enemy.
Well, say it and then we'll bleep it out.
No, because everyone who's watching right now will hear.
Yeah, so that's the prize you get for watching us live on YouTube.
No, I taught what was the name of my class? Was it how to have a podcast?
Oh, that's right.
In my how to have a podcast class, chapter 5 was don't be fooled into making enemies because Greg Fitzsimmons asked you to. It was all about you. It was all about you. And then they showed film strip after film strip. That was the technology we had of you like beguiling people.
Yeah.
Listen.
All right. Well, why don't you text it to me? When I do the ad read, you text it to me.
Okay, but I have another news story.
Okay.
And it actually dovetails nicely because you mentioned that your son kicked this kid out and then he went back to live with his parents. Well, he is not the only one. According to Pew Research, based on the census, Pew Research Center analysis of monthly Census Bureau data, the 52% of young adults right now are living with one or both parents, and this is the highest.
What percentage?
52.
Oh my God.
This is the highest percentage in American history, in a record that they know of since the Great Depression.
Of what ages?
Hang on. They are 18 to 29-year-olds.
Wow.
Yeah. Before 2020, the highest measured value was in the 1940 census at the end of the Great Depression, when 48% of young adults lived with their parents.
I think it's great. We're meant to live with our families. I think that, when you go back and you look at other countries, other cultures, moving away from your family was like, it was literally incomprehensible that you would do that. And now it's just standard. Mm-hmm. I love it if my kids want to still live with us. We'll all live together and, we'll raise their kids and it'll be great.
Especially during the pandemic, it makes sense. Like I had a listener call into my show and talk about how she, broke up with a guy who she'd been with for 6 years, and she just like packed up from San Francisco and is moving back to, I think it was Michigan. And she had, various feelings about that. And I was saying that if I didn't have a husband and kids, I would probably go back to and be with my parents right now, like Nikki Glazer's with her parents. It doesn't, if you're alone, if you're single, unless you prefer to stay that way, it doesn't really make sense to live that way in the midst of all this.
No.
It's just easier to have
companionship. Now you can help out your parents. You throw in a little rent money. Why not?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Family dinners. So, all right. I know that you're itching to do your spot so I can send you the name.
Yeah, I really want to read you this ad.
Okay.
This ad's really important to me. It is for, actually, this is a really good ad. We do some where I'm not as excited about.
You cannot say that.
I didn't say which ones I'm not as excited about. I believe in all the companies, but there's some that I really go like, I'm so happy to put this message out there. Like this one resonates with me more than others.
Okay.
All right.
Let's hear it.
Oh, you just texted me the name. Yes.
Do you know who
Been on my podcast several times.
Okay.
And yes, that person is doing that. Okay, listen. Insurance is so important. Life insurance in particular, because it's the one check I write every month that I go, my father died when he was 52 years old. My mom was only 49. She didn't have a lot of work experience. And without his life insurance policy, she would have really been screwed. And, and she got it through the accountant, and he didn't get her a great policy. And, it helped her out, but it could have been better. Policy Genius was going to make sure you get the absolute perfect insurance catered to your needs at the best possible price, because they don't sell it. They look for it. They compare it. And it takes minutes. How much coverage do you need? You compare policies starting as little as $1 a day. You can even skip the in-person medical exam in some cases. Here's the best part. They handle all the paperwork, all the red tape. Any issues, they do it. You just sit at home and wait for your life to be insured. So, look, they got a 5-star rating across 1,600 reviews on Trustpilot and Google. If you need life insurance, head to policygenius.com right now and get started. You can save 50% or more by comparing quotes. This is the best money you'll ever spend. Policy Genius, when it comes to insurance, it's nice to get it right. There you go.
Nice.
Yeah.
Should we do some? Oh, you know what? It's time for me to do that thing that always embarrasses you. I'm going to read a nice comment that we got on Apple Podcasts. People leave us nice 5-star comments. It helps out the show. I read them. You feel embarrassed. Here we go. Potty humor for parents, and then parentheses and it cut off. But there's a parenthetical. It's by PK Yama. Through a veil of potty humor and dick jokes, Alison and Greg deliver surprisingly insightful parenting advice. I listen to a lot of podcasts, but when the catchy Childish theme song starts playing, I can't help but smile because I know I'm in for an hour of raucous laughter and fun. My only complaint is that there are just not enough episodes. I wish they would release one every day. Love this show, and I hope this dynamic duo can do it again and again. They say we can't, but we can. And then also Boston Pete.
I wish I could release one every day.
I'm surprised you don't release one every day.
Well, almost every day. Boston
Pete says, good stuff. I'm a retired 69-year-old grandfather, possibly the oldest listener, parentheses, parentheses YouTube viewer. These two are very entertaining and even informative at times.
Do you think at times, I know that's a little backhanded.
That's all right. We deserve it.
But do you think on your 69th birthday, you can demand from your spouse the 69 position?
I think you can. The question is, are you going to want to? Because I already don't have, I've got no need. I mean, maybe, you know what? I'm waiting to hit my sexual peak. I feel like it's supposed to happen in your late 30s. Not so for me, but like maybe it'll happen any day now. And then I'll just be like, I gotta have it.
Yeah.
At the same time, I'm giving it.
Yeah, there's something about that. I can remember, being in my early 20s, and I would work a 69 in pretty soon in, maybe even the first night if I could do it.
Wow.
Because I enjoyed giving and receiving.
Is it because you're ADHD?
That's what it is. Yeah. But 69 position is really like I do a bit about that guy, Tekashi 6ix9ine.
Who is
You know
that?
that rapper? He's got 69 tattooed on his face.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He's like a total badass lunatic, except he flipped on the gang that he belonged to. I think he belonged to the Crips,
Mhm.
and he flipped on them to get out of a sentence.
Were they
And so
cool with that?
no, he's got a fucking target on his head now, as well as a 69 tattoo. And so, but I just thought to myself, that's a guy who's single and a rapper. He's getting 69. If I was a married person, you're not going to see 69. You're going to see, on me, I would just get like a lame hand job, just like a hand on the penis, not even grasping, just kind of limp, a Fitbit with the number 4 on it. Just no, that's the bit.
I like it. Well,
Take
now
it
I
off.
have to say
Take
it.
it off.
No, I was going to say something like revealing, but then I decided not to. But since I wouldn't say the name, I will say this. Okay, full disclosure.
Yeah.
Last night, I, like a lot of people, was having trouble sleeping. And this is what made me think like, oh, maybe my sexual prime is around the corner. I was feeling like a little bit horny, but also selfish. Like Daniel was right next. If he heard this, he would be like, I can't believe you didn't, let me into what was going on with you. Cause he would definitely be into this. But I just felt like I feel a little bit horny, but I wouldn't mind having an orgasm, but I don't want this to turn into like a whole thing that's going to take an hour and a half or whatever. Hour and a half's a little long, but
that is long. Jesus.
I know, but like maybe other women feel me on this one. Like, it's just, sex can be a whole thing. And I don't feel like having a whole thing right now, because the point is I want to go to sleep. Yep. I want to be able to like reduce my anxiety and just fall asleep. And I feel like it's going to be a whole thing that then it's going to like wake me up. So I'm just going to go to sleep.
Yeah.
Is what I did.
Right.
How often do you feel like horny but selfish? You're going to say you never do.
No, I feel that sometimes. I mean, I generally, there's no feeling it. We got JoJo's in the house, and then my nephew is staying in the guest house in the back because he's working in LA right now.
Oh, right.
And so finding an opportunity is what makes me horny. It's like when I realize that everybody's going to be out, that's when I'm like, all right, this is happening. This is going down. And I don't care. It can be quick. If she wants it quick, I got that in the bag. I got that in the toolbox. If she wants to put on a Yanni record, light a couple candles, lock up the dogs, get serious about it, I'll do that too.
Pan flute.
Yeah.
Yanni was the pan flute, right? Yeah.
I close the curtains too. I turn off the lights, close the curtains.
Well, that's good. You don't want your nephew to see. I don't know which way your bedroom faces.
Yeah, faces the back. I don't need that. So, no, but I think that's an important thing to talk about, because I think for women in particular, it is lovemaking isn't the same as sex. Men can have sex. They can have it. Mm-hmm. Women, more often want to make love. But I think, maybe you got to learn how to just get it done. You need to be vocal with Daniel and just say, look, we can make love other times. Right now, I'm horny. Do you want to have a quickie? Quickies are great. Everybody loves a quickie.
I should have just said that.
Do you get tired afterwards? Like, can you fall right asleep afterwards?
No.
No.
It like fires up a lot of stuff in my head.
Yeah.
And I know that men typically get sleepy afterwards, but it like totally wakes me up. So I don't know if that's how it is for most women. I suspect it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. Should we do some highs and lows?
Highs and lows. Was that our one ad?
That was our one ad for this episode.
Okay, good. We're not weighing you guys down with a lot of ads.
That's right. Although if we were, that would also be great.
Lows.
Why don't you start?
All right. Speaking of not social distancing all that well, I've been doing a lot of outdoor activities with friends. And last weekend, I went for a 3.5 mile run with my nephew. He kind of trains me, and then he makes me hit the heavy bag and do a lot of burpees and stuff. I did that on Wednesday. On Thursday, we played beach volleyball. We wore masks. We used a lot of alcohol on our hands in between games. And, it's on the beach. There's wind blowing, so it felt safe. We did that. And then the next day, I played golf again, mask on, outside. They've got it very safe. Like, you don't take the pin out. You don't touch the pin. It just stays in all the time.
What's a pin?
It's the flag in the hole. Yeah.
Got it.
And then the next day I played paddle tennis.
Look at you.
Yeah. So it was we had beautiful weather here last week, as you know, and I really took advantage of it. After paddle tennis, I ran and I dove in the ocean. Got on my beach cruiser, drove home, jumped in the outdoor shower, straight into the hot tub, barbecued some turkey burgers that night outside. I mean, just embraced our Indian summer. Is that not PC, the Indian summer?
I don't know. Why is it called that? Indian summer is when it's warm way into fall, right?
It's like a little gift of nice weather in the fall.
I wonder why that's called Indian. I feel like it's okay, but I don't know actually. But I wonder why it's called Indian summer. Like in the same way that I think well, you know what? I'm going to stop. That all sounds idyllic and delightful. I spend so much time inside the house and then in my studio and then walking in between my house and my studio. And that's pretty much it. And I think to myself, why don't I at least like go to Descanso Gardens or like do road
we went
trips?
there yesterday.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Me and Aaron
how was
spent it? It could have been my high. It was a perfect day. We drove up there in the morning and, they got the Japanese garden. They've got the ancient garden, which has some really cool, old, weird looking plants and trees. And it's got the rose garden. I was surprised how many roses are still blooming. And they have lots of benches and it's super peaceful. And the temperature was perfect.
Yeah.
It was this light breeze and it was warm. And so we just hiked around and then we went to Pasadena and we got a nice lunch and went home and I threw a move on, got shot down and then called it a night.
Did you have lunch at a restaurant or you picked it up?
We went to a poke place that had tables on the sidewalk.
I've still not eaten at any place other than just in my house.
I still not eaten at a restaurant?
I have still not. I haven't.
You said I still.
I thought I said I've still. But nothing would surprise me today.
Up is down, down is up.
Who knows? Descanso, was it like not very many people?
Well, you have to make a reservation to go there. You have to buy tickets.
Right.
You have to buy tickets. And they limit it. So it was actually very, very quiet. There was people, a lot of people with strollers. A lot of like that. A lot of those like, I think when people think of California, there was some of those people that had like, the NPR t-shirt and the Birkenstocks with socks on underneath and women with full gray hair that they don't fuck you. I don't change my hair for you. I don't wear a bra.
There is one of those women inside of me.
And a backpack with a giant water bottle that doesn't leach plastic.
Right, like a glass water bottle.
Yeah.
What is the point of an outdoor shower? I've always wondered.
Because you get the sunshine on you and you get a little breeze on you. It's really nice.
I've literally never wanted those things when I've been in my indoor shower. If only there was sun and breeze.
You could put a fan. I guess I could put a fan in my bathroom and just put in a higher watt bulb.
Yeah, there you go. So my high, Halloween. We had a really nice Halloween. I am not a Halloween person. I'm surrounded by people who love Halloween. In Burbank, in normal times, like goes off on Halloween. And Daniel is super into it and my kids are into it and all that. I don't like